Yeah, no, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? Welcome to the B&E podcast, the beginning of the never ending. This is where we get to explore stories of just the nomads, the people that we just the passerbys, the people you walk by every day. And I'm really excited to sit down. I just practiced this like not even 30 seconds ago. It just caught us laughing. So Akil Tircuit, did I get it right?
Perfect.
Okay, get excited. Yeah, we get to kind of see the life of him and how he has gone through his life so far and the experiences that he's had, the good, the bad, the ugly, and hopefully our goal is to learn from each other, get connected a little bit more, obviously please, we're gonna be posting all his stuff in the description. So support. This is a live show, so you guys can please chime in and yeah, absolutely, just get involved. But without further ado. Yeah, let's get into it. So, where does it begin, my friend? Because one of the things I was just telling you right before we started was like, okay, Tircuit. That sounds very different. Like, where's your ancestors from? Where's your history?
So, with that name in particular, that's not the name I was born with.
Oh,
I was actually adopted into that name. So the name I was born with was Webb.
okay.
Um, when I was about five-ish, I think, my mom remarried,
Hmm.
and that man adopted me into the family.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that is when my last name changed from Webb to Tircuit. So I have his last name. He comes from New Orleans, so very Creole, a lot of Caribbean, Black, French
Sure.
people just mix up. Like a lot of people down there speak very fluent French, but
Yeah.
in a very Cajun way, which is really cool, and the food is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely. So wait. So you said Webb was the original,
Yeah.
and so is that do you know anything about that kind of history, or did your mother ever get to explain that to you?
Well, actually, so my mother's maiden name is Ferguson. So my dad's is my biological father's name is Webb, and I'm
Sure.
I'm close to that side of the family.
Oh, okay.
So he's still in the picture and everything.
Mm.
We got closer more in my 20s,
Mm.
but I've always been close to that side of the family ever since I was little.
So, where does it all begin? Is like your grandparents? Do you get to interact with them? Because it seems like you have a big family now.
I have a huge
I
family.
was about to say, like, my
But
God,
yeah, no,
Creole.
my grandparents on my biological side have
Yeah.
always been in my life, and they've
Okay.
always been like actively trying to be in my life.
Okay.
It's just with my biological fathers where things kind of get a little bit screwy.
Sure.
But with them, I know on my paternal grandfather's side that
Mm.
we come from slaves.
Mm.
We have some pictures of some of our ancestors on the field.
Yeah.
It was either in Mississippi or Georgia. I'm not sure which
Mm.
one. And then from there, uh, my grandfather used to work in the Jim Crow South on farms. He used to go when he was like 10 or 12 years old. He'd live up north. He'd take buses to the south,
Yo.
and he used to spend his summers working on his family farm in the south.
Do you remember I mean, is he? I don't know if he's back around that time.
Hmm.
Is he still around?
Yeah,
What type of personality does he have?
he has a very. My grandfather is just a very hardworking personality, but a
Mm.
very all about the family.
Mm.
Um, how I experienced him, I got to experience grandfather
Sure.
version of him. So very loving, very
Sure, yeah.
caring, very more open to you being who you want to be,
Sure.
and not forcing me to go into the family business.
Is that the farm or is it?
No, so the family business at the time was McDonald's.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So he used to own a couple in Southern California, San Bernardino area.
Mm.
But my father got a very different version of my grandfather.
Sure.
Very strict, very, you got to live up to his expectations, a very,
Stern.
yeah, you just got to, because he was a black man who came from nothing, and now he was something, and he wanted his son to do that. And he was busy all the time, so there's not a lot of room for a lot of love in that.
Sure. Yeah, I imagine so. Do you feel like your grandmother kind of fills the same shoes, or is she a little bit more kind of on that loving side now?
My grandmother, I think, has always been just love.
Mm.
That's just kind of who she is. She's always loved people. She's always done charity. She's always done scholarships for African American women, making sure that they get the education that they need. And she's always been like the heart of the family. So even though our grandfather may lead, she's always been
like a great support.
Yeah, who always keeps us emotionally grounded. I believe.
And I imagine your mother's side kind of has something similar at least.
My mother is the backbone of like my family.
Sure.
Like she is the biggest support. My mother comes from a background of neglect. Her father was going through some things, and her mother just wasn't capable of giving my mom what she needed. And so that made my mom kind of become an overachiever because she kind of had to take care of herself.
Sure, yeah.
So she's like a straight A student, basketball star.
Wow.
All that. One of those people where she's just like, you walk to school because I had to take 3 buses and walk 3 hours to get to school, and she actually did it. So she has done everything she absolutely could for me and for my siblings, because she had me really young. I'm her first child. She had me at 19 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because must be around the 70s, right? I'm thinking right here, right? 70.
So my mother was born in the 70s, so I was born in the 90s.
90s, right?
Yeah.
So she was well into her 20s. So I guess the question I have now, you're mentioning how like your parents, in terms of your maternal, right, your actual blood parents. One side of the family is like obviously well off, and obviously comes from a pretty heavy background. And then you also have another side of your mother's side, which doesn't have like that stability, but your mother is obviously, she's pulling in weight, How was the kind of your parent dynamic? I don't know if you remember it at that time, but between your mother and your father before your mother remarried.
So I don't remember how the dynamic was between my biological father and my mother.
Sure. Okay.
Just because I wasn't old enough. Also, he just wasn't around.
Sure.
So I didn't really get to see a dynamic with them until after she divorced my adopted father. And at first it seemed cool, and then things kind of just went dead silent for a while. And I didn't see my father, and my mom had nothing good to say about him.
Sure.
So I didn't find out till later that some stuff happened between them in that time that made that happen.
So then your childhood then, can you kind of explain what that life was like? Was it just you? Did you have any like brothers or sisters, or?
Yeah. So I grew up with, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. I grew up with my younger brother and my younger sister.
You're the oldest.
I have the 2 younger brothers. I have one older brother.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't meet him until I was 16 years old.
Okay.
So I grew up with those people.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where the adopted father, Ivan, he was really loving, really took us in, really tried to get us into the Creole culture. Had gumbo all the time, jambalaya, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And things were cool until it wasn't. Like things really got weird once they got divorced. It was one of those toxic divorces where you go back to your dad's and he's telling you all this really heinous stuff about your mother.
Sure.
You're a child, so you believe it, so you bring that energy back to your mother. That creates a toxic environment.
Sure.
So, and then you go back, same thing happens, and it creates a situation where there's just like no happiness,
Yeah.
at least for me.
Sure. And
And
where are you living at this time?
I'm living in Heritage,
Okay.
in Fontana.
And is that where you pretty much your whole kind of life was is
Up until 16, and then I moved a little bit more into Rancho.
okay. So then this kind of life, I don't know how old were you when they got a divorce?
I was in 5th grade, so probably about 11, 12, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's different when you're younger. I think it
Mhm.
hits differently. I imagine for your kind of younger brothers and sisters too. I think it makes the dynamic feel very very off. A divided home is something that's pretty hard to adapt to. Was it hard for you?
It was, but it wasn't hard for me because of the divorce. It was hard for me because of how it was handled.
Mm,
My dad adopted dad, got really vindictive
mm,
and felt that, I mean, it's hard not to take divorce personally,
sure, yeah.
but it wasn't really about him. It was about like, there were two people who shouldn't have never got married in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The reasons why they got married were circumstances that weren't about just love.
Mm,
It was, they felt like they had to.
mm,
And so I felt like in a situation where if two people got divorced but still wanted to create a happy home
mm,
for their kids and still be in their lives in a nurturing and supportive way, just not in a romantic way,
mm.
that's possible because I've seen it. I've
Sure.
seen it in my family, and it's beautiful, and the kids are great. I'm sorry, what was the?
No. I actually want to lead on to the next question then.
Mhm.
What type of personality were you kind of like you as a kid?
Quiet.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked by that.
Well, just socially didn't know a lot.
Mm.
Like, I got called autistic a lot. Like,
Whoa.
people thought I was retarded. Not just like people in my school, but people like in my family.
Mm.
Just because I was closed in. I didn't know how to speak, and every time I felt like I spoke, I said something wrong or I said something strange, and so I felt like I was getting judged for that. So then that would make me be closed in even more,
Right.
and I felt like I didn't really have an outlet for expressing myself. So I ended up being one of those daydreamers where I would just daydream about fantasies all the time, and so I didn't really develop socially.
Right.
Along with my peers, because I didn't have a lot of friends, or the friends that I did have were also going through something like that.
Sure.
So we were normal around ourselves, but like when I'm in sports, I was isolated because I was the weird kid.
Whoa.
Or like in other social activities with my family, I felt like I wasn't, I don't know, like the typical kid, like especially in a black family.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a certain image that like is usually perpetrated, and I was not fitting that.
Sure.
So I felt like I always got like singled out, or I got picked on, stuff like that.
You must have at least some home, right? Like in a way, I think a home is not just a place, right? I think it's just it's a kind of like a community of people, or a place where you feel safe and calm, whatever, right? Who was like kind of the closest person? Was it more friends? Was it more family? Who was like the kind of like the stability for you?
During that time, I guess probably my friends.
Okay.
I had a group of friends. We were all in the anime club together.
Oh, get excited.
Yeah, right. It was cool. It was cool to have those people because we were all weirdos. Especially in that time, it was in a day and age where like I feel like now liking anime is cool.
Yeah.
Back then it was
not cool. Yeah. It was not cool.
Back then, the cool people were watching BET,
Dragon Ball Z,
MTV,
stuff like
So like if you're over there talking about Naruto, it was
it's not gonna happen. No, even Power Rangers and stuff was Superman and just stuff like that. It was never like it was never a big thing. So you're this kind of shy anime guy, and at the end of the way as well is that you also have like this. You're in sports. You're not not active in a way, you know.
No,
So
yeah, I've always been into sports since I was young. I started off young in t-ball, and
okay,
then I moved into basketball,
okay.
and then I played football up until my freshman year of high school, and then I got like a spine injury
Mm,
uh, in freshman football, so I stopped, and I went from that to cross country and track,
mm.
and I just stayed there, and that's how I got into college. I just started running in college.
So I have to understand this, right?
Mm.
You're huge into sports, right? Obviously your friend group is, kind of on the kind of outcast, I would call them, side, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Any I guess any kind of teachers that was kind of seeing this happening to you, like try to support you, or it was just like you versus the world in a way?
It was. I feel like it was more me versus myself,
Oh, oh.
because it's hard for people to reach out to help you if you're not like engaging
Mm,
with other people. And I didn't know how to ask for help and accept help,
mm.
or even friendship outside of my core friends. Like, even today, I've had, not today, but like recently, I was thinking about the past where uh, a girl approached me and was trying to talk to me, and my whole mental was messed up where I thought she was making fun of me
Mm,
when she probably just wanted to get to know me or something, or probably just wanted to have a conversation. But I'm thinking, why would you want to know me? I'm the weird kid. I'm silent. I'm not cool. I'm not this. I'm not
mm.
that. So me having that mental about myself made me think that this person was try and mess with me.
Where did the turtle battle come from? You mentioned that some people, was that from an early age when people started telling you that you might have some mental illness or.
A lot of that came from issues I had with my father, my
Whoa.
biological father. I always wanted his acceptance,
Mm,
and I never felt like I got it. Because he was always super cool, super suave, dating
mm,
supermodels, having the coolest clothes, going to all these parties, events, knowing so many people,
sure.
and you got anime kid son over
Mm,
here. And I think part of it was also he was a little bit ashamed of not being around.
sure.
So he didn't want to bring me around his people or be around me because it kind of reminded him of that.
Mm,
So uh, all I wanted was like his acceptance,
sure.
and I never felt like I got it, or never felt like I was good enough.
Mm,
So I kind of brought that into the rest of my world.
yeah, you kind of adopted it into your DNA.
Yeah.
Something changed though. Like something shifted. Was it when you went to college?
Uh, that helped. So I joined a fraternity.
Oh, okay.
I joined TKE Teeks,
Okay.
and we went through our pledge period, and that was part of me becoming who I am today. I
Mm,
feel because they identified certain personality aspects of me that were toxic,
mm.
and like basically in their own way, putting a mirror to my face and said, "This is who you are. This is who you are. This is not okay. This is who you are," type of thing.
Mm,
And it really shattered me.
mm,
And I remember there was this event that happened, and I was on the precipice of not continuing with the program, and in fraternities you get big brothers and
yeah, of
whatnot,
course. Yeah.
and I'm bawling into this guy's arms, like just melting,
Mm,
just crying, like every bad thing that's ever happened, every negative emotion that has happened to me from then till now, it just came out of me.
mm,
And it was from there that I was actually able to like kind of build up myself again,
mm.
and build some genuine relationships with people in that fraternity, and start rethinking about how I see myself.
What do you think was the trigger?
It was just them pointing out those things about me
Mm.
and
Do you know specifically what things?
my anger.
Mm.
I had anger issues. Um, in college, you go to this place and you think, I can reinvent myself.
Right.
I can be whoever I want because no one knows me.
Right.
And I want to be the guy that, because I thought everyone was out to get me, that no one wanted to mess with.
Mm.
So that created some anger issues that came out in toxic ways, toxic masculine ways, and just in general.
And so it was like you kind of went to the opposite extreme, right? From
Yeah.
kind of the shy to the kind of like and almost embodying a little bit of what you thought what a man or what might, I don't want to say impress your father, but you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but I think it was just more, I think the way you wanted to see yourself. You just didn't want to be weak, I think.
I just want to be weak.
Yeah.
And I was still shy. I was still quiet. But now it's just quiet or angry.
Mm.
And when you have those two things, that looks dangerous.
Yeah. There's no middle ground.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we just
So
jumping off the
luckily,
cliff here.
that group of people saw something else in me,
Yeah,
and they brought me along. And it was not easy.
sure.
It was rough. But afterward, and I'm not saying I came out like completely different.
Sure.
I still had a lot of other stuff that had to happen, but that was the start.
What did you go to school for?
So I got in for computer science,
Okay.
but I decided to leave and do film instead.
Yeah.
So that's what I went to school for.
Were you ever in film? Ever messed with that while you were kind of growing up?
So my last year of high school,
Mm.
I took a digital film class,
Oh, okay.
and I fell in love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one of those situations where like you take an elective and it looked fun,
Sure.
and I found myself going to classes on Saturdays to spend the extra 4 hours to make videos for extra credit with my friend Michael because we were just having so much fun.
Yeah.
And we were having so much fun creating music videos and stories and just messing around with the equipment and the editing software. So we were just like, I was just like, I think I want to do this
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
You ever you still hit up Michael every once in a while?
I haven't talked to him in like maybe 2 years.
Okay.
I wish him all well.
Sure.
And everything. We're just two different people.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're in college.
Mm-hmm.
What school did you go to?
Cal State Fullerton.
Okay. So you're not too far from home, right? This is
No,
still home,
not
right?
too far from home.
And so do you kind of feel like your family's starting to see you change or becoming something different? Or was it more of just like your brothers and sisters, like, whoa, you feel you're acting, operating, moving differently?
I feel like
I guess my question is, how's their relationship?
my relationship with my mother hit an all-time low.
Oh.
My sophomore year of college. Just a lot of stuff came out. I forgot what happened, but it came out that she resented the fact that I switched majors from computer science to film because like you don't make no money in film.
Sure.
She resented the fact that I joined the fraternity. She's like, I never wanted you to join that fraternity. She resented the fact that I wasn't staying on campus like she wanted me to. And I was not responsible with my car, so I lost my car. And that was just all-time low in our relationship.
Sure.
Where I was messing up a lot, but also I wasn't doing what she wanted me to do, which is like not in my personality anyway.
Sure.
I'm just gonna do what I always want to do.
Yeah.
But so, and then on my father's side, I just kind of cut myself off from that family for a while.
Oh, wow.
I was sick and tired of feeling not good enough. I didn't know how to not feel that way around them. So I just wanted to step away from the family.
So this is more, you're focusing on you.
Yeah.
You really had to go work on yourself.
Yeah. I think I went about it wrong. At least with my dad's side of the family.
Sure.
Because I was trying to find myself.
Yeah.
And I was trying to become what I thought was a complete human being, someone that they could be proud of. So when I come back, I can get that feeling again.
Mm.
And I think that was the wrong way of thinking about it.
And any you mentioned obviously you have your fraternity brothers, but any other kind of close people you're interacting with now? Have you kind of experimented with love, or have you been able to kind of like meet some really cool professors or start any cool crafts? I know you said film is a big thing.
Oh yeah, no, like met my girlfriend in college. Um, I'm still doing media, so I produce podcasts now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to really work on my photography because I just want to get some galleries. I would like to be recognized for some of that artwork that I do.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to go back to school to get my master's so I can build my connection out further and work on some more impressive projects.
So tell me, you mentioned you were working on some stuff back in high school. Do you feel like the stuff you worked on then is kind of translating now?
I think the love is. Like with this, like filming is like a craft. So like every little step helps you with the next thing.
Yeah.
And you always learn something new about like your equipment or different techniques or that type of thing. But with film, I think the most important thing is how dealing with people, managing people, how to get out of your own way, how not to have an ego, because film is very collaborative.
Yeah.
And so you either have to have people you trust that will like with this process, or you just have to be prepared to let your ideas die.
Sure.
So that was some ego checking that I had to do.
Sure. I think it changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
So where's your work experience? Has it been in film yet, or what have you what have you been doing since
So most of it has been in social media and videography as far as commercials and corporate stuff.
Sure.
So I've created a lot of videos for websites for corporate people, either like their orientations, their pitches, items they have for sale, things like that, and a lot of photography for them as well.
Have you been freelancing this whole time?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes, but I've also had other jobs.
Okay.
So like I've been freelancing also while driving vans, freelancing while also working at a smoke shop, freelancing while working. How would I describe that job? Working for a cannabis company.
Sure.
I was freelancing when I lived in New York. In New York, I was freelancing, working at Trader Joe's, interning as a producer, and volunteering at film festivals.
You know, New York is not really known for its videography, but they're known for their connections. So many people you can interact with and grow with and connect with. It's crazy.
If it wasn't for my family, I'd probably still be living there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that? You just have so much family out here, you just don't want to lose touch with them?
Well, one, my little brother was born. So we have an 18-year difference.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see him grow up.
Sure.
I wanted to be around him. I wanted to interact with him.
Sure.
I wanted to be part of his life.
That's crazy. I have the same reason I'm out here. My little sister, and I kind of feel like the same 22-year difference. Yeah, 22, 23. And so for me, it's like I feel the same. I moved from Arizona to here because I feel like it's just, man, I want to be kind of just around family more. So you are able to kind of like find yourself kind of after college and kind of getting these new work experiences and connecting with new people.
That and therapy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Because in the kind of the African American community, therapy is like frowned upon, so.
Well, yes. Luckily, I come from a family where it's not.
Okay, that's good.
Because they paid for it.
Hey.
That's why I was able to do it.
Yeah.
and it helped me come to terms with my father, my mother. Also, they went through their own therapeutic sessions, and it helped us be able to sit down, forgive each other, and talk about the relationship that we want with each other.
How long were you in it? Are you still going?
I still go
That's good.
every once in a while, but I went through the most intense parts of it at the tail end of my college experience.
Whoa. It's a lot to manage. School. I mean, you're working during college?
Yes.
Jeez. And you have a relationship?
Yeah.
Jeez. And you're exploring your whole history in your life. Uh, was it some of the best times, worst times? Do you feel like, how was that? Like kind of exiting college and kind of entering in?
It was honestly not memorable except for the therapy.
Really? Okay.
Because the therapy is where a lot of how I think about the world today comes from. And it's how I'm able to have a good relationship with my father and my mother and my adopted father and their families.
Do you have the same therapist, or did you?
No, I have a different therapist now than I did then.
So can you give me, I wanted to, I don't know if you're okay with staying here though, because I think this is pretty cool. Your experience through kind of therapy, you mentioned that your mindset, the kind of values and your psychology changed, you know? How do you see the world now versus when you were prior to therapy versus, in terms of your relationship with your family and yourself and others?
So when it comes to relationships, I was always waiting back then. I was always waiting for them to come and accept me. I was always waiting for them to make the move, and I would get angry at them for not making the moves I didn't want them to make. I had expectations, and I guess it's kind of fair for a son to have expectations with his father.
Sure.
But if I want a relationship with him that's real, true, based off love and connection, and now I'm an adult, I have to initiate. Because that's what I want.
Oh, okay.
So
if you want something, go get it. Don't kind of have the expectation of someone else to come save you. You got to save yourself in a way.
That and empathy. I was angry with him for like not being there when I was growing up, for not being the father that I wanted and not giving me the paternal love that I wanted.
Sure.
And through therapy, it helped me accept that happened. It sucked.
Yeah.
But what do I want? But what do I want today? And so I called him. We had breakfast.
Oh.
I sat him down and I said, I want a good relationship with you. I haven't been fair to you in the way where I was expecting you to just do some grand thing that make me feel like your son. And I realized that I'm not giving you the chance to have that relationship with me because I'm pushing you away until I find that thing. So just human to human, I forgive you, and I would like to have a relationship based off love, trust, and openness, where we can establish our boundaries and those boundaries be respected.
I know one thing about separation and divorce is that you kind of have this house divided. Did you feel like your mother got in the way of this, or did you feel like anyone was, or was it just extremely supportive? Everyone was just like, "Hey, this is a good thing."
My mother never got in the way of my relationship with my father. My mother, though, I feel like she was going through her own stuff. In high school, she was building her business.
Yeah.
And it was taking off. And I believe that she was dealing with her own self-esteem stuff.
Sure.
And things that went on with her mother that kind of carried on to how my siblings and I got treated, which I'm not saying she treated us badly, but just like, trauma can affect our decisions.
So then you're I think you have this newfound recollection that, hey, look, it's on me to decide how my life is and what my life is going to be like. When you're going and now you're traveling in a way, like you're in Fulton, you're moving over to New York, you're traveling, going back and forth, like you're getting to experience a lot more. Did you get to travel when you were young, or was it just kind of mostly Louisiana and back? I'm just kidding.
I mean, I went to Louisiana twice. I went to Mexico once on a fishing trip.
Okay.
And Florida for Disney World with my mom once. And that was all that I can remember of traveling. I do travel a lot more now.
Sure.
Like this year, I just came back from New York. In August or September, I was in Alaska. I'm hoping in the next year or two to go to Iceland. So now I definitely have more control over that.
And you're, like I said, you're kind of maintaining a relationship here. How's been the relation with you and your girlfriend?
It's been good. Hasn't always been easy.
Sure. Has it been long distance at any, or?
I mean, it was. One of the reasons I moved to New York was because she was getting her master's there.
Oh, wow.
And I just graduated college. No job lined up.
It's perfect time.
What was stopping me?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, yeah, we've just been together ever since.
One of the things here, what she go to school for, or what?
A museum studies.
Whoa, interesting. So you said you want to get into galleries, right? That's like a big kind of passion of yours.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said videography is a big thing too. Okay. I think she's kind of seen you at your kind of lowest, and obviously now, like where you're at now, seems like you've been together for a while. Can you kind of explain the kind of personality that she has?
She is, in a lot of ways, the opposite of me, where I'm very kind of freeform. And at least nowadays, I try not to take things personally. So, like, stuff will happen to me, and I'll be like, that sucks. Got to deal with it and move on to the next. Where she'll really internalize stuff. And like wear her emotions on her sleeve.
Reminds me of my wife. My wife, she would call herself yin and yang.
But I think it works because it allows me to like be a rock, and like when like things happen that like and it causes her to say or do things that are like not do but say things. That I know she doesn't mean. It allows me to just kind of just like wipe that off me. It's like I know that ain't personal. It's just like she's going through what she's going through. And sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. I think there's some strength in that. I think there's some strength in having some people. It's kind of opposites attract. It tends to do that, right? And it could power some great things. You can build a great future for people as well. So yeah, I think this is kind of my final question. One of the things that I think is huge in the kind of the Black culture is kind of faith, and I'm curious, kind of like what your journey was that like, and kind of like where you kind of start off when you were younger, or if you guys are more, if it was never really about that part of your side of the family.
So on my dad's side of the family, they're big on faith, but he wasn't around, so I never really got that.
Sure.
And my mother, probably more to do with her experience growing up, wasn't really into the church. And my father, my adopted father, he was in the Nation of Islam. Yeah. In college, and I think he got out before he married my mother, but a lot of those like don't eat pork, a lot of those stipulations still like were around in my childhood.
Sure.
So once I got out of college, I started thinking about it more. And I wouldn't call myself an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
I How I describe it is my relationship with the creator is very personal,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like a priest or a pastor can define that
Mm.
for myself. And I've had experiences where I feel like the universe is telling me which way to go
Sure.
and how to do things and how to be a good person, and I'm following those signs. So, but I keep that here.
Mm. The reason I ask that is because my next question has to do with just kind of the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of where do you see, looking back at your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of where you started off, being this young kid, shy kid, this person who's just kind of reserved, but outwardly going, right?
Mm-hmm.
You interact with certain people in terms of friends or, excuse me, um, you interact with people in terms of friendships. You go into sports. You're constantly active. You're doing things,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't really somehow build these personal connections with people, but you're not for the lack of trying. It's more just because you're just trying to search for yourself, trying to just know that you is the best version of you.
Mm-hmm.
You continue to progress through that, right? Like you're going through high school, you're moving through onto college. You have a taste of that videography. You want to go for computer software engineering, but you shift. You're like, nah, I'm gonna try something a little bit different, right? You also have a self-discovery. You're part of a fraternity. That changes you. That makes you a whole different version of yourself. You go through this small transformation, and then you get to go dive deeper into that transformation through therapy. You're working throughout this time. You're trying to progress through life. You move all the way over across the state, across the states to a whole new world, right? You follow a girl, and you're able to kind of build a relationship and learn more about your craft and learn more about people. And now you get the transaction back and forth. I mean, you had this life, right,
Mm-hmm.
that you just lived. Um, Looking back at that now, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about yourself and where you were and where you are now?
I feel good.
Hmm.
I feel like I wouldn't change anything.
Hmm.
The most important thing, like I like how I think about the world today, and I like how I think about people, and I like how I'm able to interact with my family, and I like that I'm able to not just see them as my mom, my dad, sister, brother, and the expectations of what comes with that. I'm able to see them as just human beings, and how I cultivate my relationship with them is on me. And I feel like I wouldn't have been able to get there without all those experiences, without me putting on that on people, seeing that wasn't working, having it pointed out to me, and me being able to make a change.
Hmm.
And now I'm in a situation where I'm able to go and have lunch with my dad whenever I want.
Hmm.
Me and my mom tell each other everything.
Hmm.
We have like 2 hour, 3 hour long conversations just walking in parks, talking. Me and my aunt have never been closer. We actually work together now. And that wasn't because of something that they did. That was because I decided that I want that type of relationship with them. And I told them, and they reciprocated.
What's the dream? What are you fighting for? What's the kind of next steps?
I'm fighting for a world where I can make meaningful art
Hmm.
for myself and for people. Find out a way that I can do that, help my community,
Hmm.
build a family, and live well. And if I can do those things, I'm good.
No, you're not asking for a lot.
Yeah.
um, now I really appreciate hearing your story and kind of the life that you lived. And one of the things I really gained is that like um, there is a there is a there are some people that you interact with, and if you let them do what they're kind of meant to do, it can really benefit you in life. The guy, kind of the people, your fraternity brother, showing you the mirror, like, hey, take a look at yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
The therapist able to explain to you, like, hey, look, this is how, how you're going through life, and this is some of the things you should try and look to change. I think those are some key moments in some people that people just don't really get to like. They take for granted, and it's really cool to see someone who didn't. It's really cool to see someone who took their life by their hands, and instead of waiting for someone to kind of save them, they took the opportunity to save themselves. And I find myself sometimes waiting for things to happen, waiting for people to like, oh, they'll, But it's really cool to for you, you know how young you are, going out the way of just already like, no, I'm gonna go chase after life and what I want, and I'm gonna make sure I make a difference in that way. And that's really cool. That's really really awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
it's
it.
inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you for this platform.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, our goal is to kind of showcase more stories. But before then, we have some deep questions for you. We're gonna move on to the next chapter. But is there anything else you want to add about your life, or any people you want to touch upon? You mentioned your aunt, or is there anything you want to kind of like, hey, shout outs to these individuals and key players in your life so far?
Yeah, there's one person I didn't talk about that much, and that's my stepfather. The person my mother is married to now. I guess in my whole story, I kind of forgot to mention him, but he was the person who showed me what it means to be a man and to live a life with some integrity, and just how to be who you are, and to be it in a way that it's a benefit to the world. And I just like to shout out him and thank him for that. And I know I didn't make it easy on him, and I appreciate him sticking around.
That's awesome. Shout out to, what's his name? I'm sorry?
Jason.
No, shout out Jason. We need more Jasons out there.
Goddamn.
All right, so shoot, did I mix up the cards? I hope I didn't. Oh no, I did mess up the card. All right, we're back at it again with the white vans. All right, so we got some list of questions for you. These are deep questions, right?
Okay.
It's a few questions that we asked to kind of get the better understanding of what the way you kind of see the world, the way you see life, and just different kind of cool topics to kind of jump into.
Sure.
Yeah, try to give the best answer you can, and yeah, good luck, man. Okay. So besides you, right? Who is the emotional center of your life, and why?
My mother. She has a lot of influence on me, and I just think just because she's probably the person I think highest of, and she's also my confidant, the person I talk to the most, which is probably not good. Probably should be my girlfriend, but my girlfriend's not black.
Sure.
So there are some aspects of the black experience that I can't really explain to her that I can explain to like my mom, and she gets it. And
you also mentioned earlier that your relationship with your mother, it seems like that's the only person that's been consistent.
Yes.
Literally the only person.
I mean, her and Jason, but as far as like from when I was born to now, her best interest was always me. Even when she was like mad at me, even when she was like mad about the decisions I made.
Sure.
She was only mad because she thought I was making decisions that were hurting my life.
Yo, that's huge. That's huge. All right, let's get excited. I've already kind of alluded to this, but I'm curious what you think. What do you think your brothers and sisters are learning from you?
You know, what I hope they're learning from me is self-acceptance and how to create the relationships they want. But what they're learning from me, I have no idea, because how I see myself and how other people see me can just be on two different planets. And I have a decent relationship with all of them. So I don't think any of them think I'm a dick or anything, but like, I'm not sure what they're getting from me.
You should. Hey,
maybe I should ask them.
That's exactly a good question to ask, right? What are you most excited about in life right now?
No, the thing that excites me most in life right now is just creating my business. So I started my own production company earlier this year. And that's where I do all my podcast stuff through, my photography stuff through, videography stuff through. And for a while now, I've just been freelancing, just using my name. But now that I have an entity, something to grow, something to build.
The brand, yeah.
Yeah, something that can become a legacy. I'm excited about that.
Talk about it. What's the name of it? What's
Vibrations Video Productions.
Mm.
Just you ever heard the Silk Sonic album?
Oh, yo, of course.
So my favorite song in that album is the last song in that album. And my favorite part of that song is the last parts where they're saying blasting off straight to some good vibrations. And that's where the name came from. And the company itself, I hope to use it to create interesting, impactful content one day. For now, I'm using it just to build up my client base and a good reputation.
Huge.
For myself.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think this is a good time to kind of plug that. Where do people find you?
Oh, so they can find me one on my social media at Akil-Tircuit, AKIL-TIRCUIT on Instagram. They can also go to my website, AKILTIRCUIT.com. We do have an Instagram page, Vibrations Video Productions on Instagram that they can follow. And the website is coming soon. I'm having my sister build it.
Get excited, sis. Yo, let's go. Awesome. The next question. Describe your proudest moment.
You know, there's a lot. So there was this day when I was living in New York, and I was volunteering for the Margaret Mead Film Festival. And just one of those days where everything just goes right.
Yeah.
Like you have those days where everything just goes wrong. It's like it's rough. I had the opposite. I had one of those days where like I must have used up all my luck for that year. So we get there, and the catering company for where the directors are meeting up for that morning, like, just ghosted them. So the company sends me and one other girl there, and we get there, and people just say, okay, you can drink, you can talk to the directors. All you have to do is just make sure that they got food and they got drinks. So I got to talk to directors from all over the world.
Wow.
And from Brazil, from China, from Norwegian? Norway?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Norway, from just all over the world. And they were all interesting people. It was amazing. We're all a little tipsy, so like the conversation was flowing. And then I come back, and they had this VR table. And at the time, and to this day, I'm way into VR. I think it's the future.
Sure.
So the guy shows me this VR experience, and it's basically this booth I'll be maintaining. And I end up running it by like the end of the day, where they have people coming up to me, and I'm like training them on like, so this is how you do the thing, and this is how you do this, and this is how you talk to the people.
Yeah.
And the guy who was supposed to be running it's just like, I don't have to be here. It just goes away. He do other stuff now, and the lady who runs the whole thing was just like, "Do you want a job?" And I was just like, "This is one of the most prestigious film festivals. Like, you're at the National History Museum. We're under a T-Rex skeleton right now, and you're offering me a job here?" And I didn't take it because I was moving back to California in like a couple weeks. But for me, that was really proud because I've always had like a lot of self-doubt about me being able to perform at a high level. And it was just one of those days where I just did it. And I was recognized, and it felt really good.
You proved your worth.
Yeah. But I wasn't even like trying to. I was
just
I was just doing my thing.
It's cool how just life happens that way.
Yeah.
Shout outs to you, man.
Thank you.
Final question. Describe when you feel most alive.
When I'm doing photography. Specifically when I'm doing either nature photography or portraits. And when I'm in control of the art direction of that. When I'm able to control those moving pieces, able to really bring my vision back to life, and able to look and start editing what I created and create something that's just originally me, something that can possibly outlive me. It's just like I feel alive. I feel electric.
Heck yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, if you're at a job you love, you're never tired because it just continually puts energy into you. So, like, you put in a ton of energy into it, it gives it back to you, and you just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel most alive, is when I'm doing that.
Everyone, this is Mr. Akil Tircuit. I really suggest you looking at some of his stuff. The not just the story that you have, but you can tell like there's a sense of passion that you want to be able to do. You're not just talking. You're actually really trying to walk in this. Starting your own business is not easy, especially in video and photography. It's a hard world. It's a lot of competition, and the way you operate and interacting with you and getting you on the show, just you're extremely professional. Love the way you I can see a lot of big things, and so it's really exciting to kind of sit down with someone. With your kind of your mindset and wanting to be able to kind of really make a difference and a change, and and it's not like it's really the interesting things. You're not trying to change the world, but you're just more of trying to showcase someone. Portraits being the case, or showcase something. Animals or landscaping, and you found your craft. You found your I guess the tool that allows you to be able to do that, and you're running straight for it. And it seems like you're not letting anything in your way. Like, it's really cool. So, yeah, I really appreciate this conversation. I'm really excited for today. You got me going. This is a great way to start the morning.
I appreciate you for having me here. It's nice being able to talk like this.
Yeah, straight off the plane, too. My guy, you just got back from New York, already on a show. You're not.
You gave me the coffee, so you guys buttered me up. So.
Yeah, once again, we're going to have everything set in the descriptions. So we're going to plug everything there. I'm not sure we have any questions from chat. Okay, perfect. Well, then thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I'm excited to see you guys. And this was the B&E podcast. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Have a wonderful day.